a lot of those groups, and some of the guys would tell you, so don't let anybody tell you, but that was a guide for us back then. And of course the music has spread, and now it's an international thing. And I must say that I'm blessed because in the last 5 years, I've been to about 30 different countries around the world. Everywhere from Australia to Japan, England, Spain, and the reaction has been the same. They ask the same questions that you ask. And it does my heart good because I said, wow. I said, you mean after all these years, people are finally understanding what I was trying to do back then? And they're curious to know the old stories. They want to know how it was growing up then. And I said, well, why do they keep asking the same stories? Because they weren't there. You know, it's like a mystery. And Joe Bataan was always underground. And I guess why I sustained and lasted so long was maybe the lyrics in my music. You couldn't put your finger on my pulse. I did Puerto Rico Me Llama, which is a cold Latin salsa tune. I did Chicana Lady, which is for La Raza, Chicanas, and I did Afro Filipino. So, you know, if anybody was international, it was me. And I like to think that I've tried to be an ambassador to world music. Hmm?
Yeah, that's good. So, curious, you took a break from making records and then you recently put out, well, not super recent, Call My Name.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to make or start putting out records again, or what inspired that?
I always did. I mean, at that time when I took off, I was raising a family, all right? We got into martial arts. I was starting to work, and of course, like anything, when you stop smoking, you stop smoking. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to go back to smoking. Unless somebody gives you a drag and a cigarette, then you start to smoke again. So the same thing happened to me. I had been away from music for so long. It took me almost 6 months to get my voice back. I was smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, I was working, and I was doing the regular routine that most of us do. And I wasn't thinking about going to music because I lost all my contacts. And as you know, once you start not feeling comfortable in what you do, you start drifting away from it, and I was no different. My family studied Shotokan for 11 years. We had a dream with our kids that we would bring them to the Olympics. And the kids trained, and my wife trained. She's a black belt, by the way. I'm not, I carry the bags. And my kids were black belts. And our dream was to make it, I forget what year it was, the Olympics, that they were gonna have the martial arts. And what happened was, when they picked the style, it was Taekwondo. So we lost out. All that training we did, it never became the Japanese form of Shotokan. So, you know, my kids started becoming sore losers. They didn't want to lose anymore in tournaments, so it was time for me to move on. And then when I had that opportunity to jump back in music, you know, I jumped with open arms because it's the one thing that I love.
I have a question.
Yes.
Joe, is there a making? I mean, do you plan on doing more music? Because I know you have a lot of songs written down somewhere.
Yes, I do.
Saved. Do you plan to record any of them?
Well, I mentioned something to, where is he?
Carlos, right there.
Carlos, it was Al, right?
Al.
Al. And he sort of gave me some encouragement, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I have a story, and I probably can't tell you the whole story of my life. That's how extensive it is. Because my story goes around the world. It goes from when I traveled with Angela Davis to the Iron Curtain. It goes to when I was stranded in Las Vegas in the desert. It goes to those 3 years that I spent in the reformatory. It goes to the happy moments of my marriage and my 6 kids. And it goes through the music that I composed throughout my life. And I've always wanted to write a book, but of course I'm lazy. And I need encouragement. I guess this will probably be encouragement for you, because when I mentioned to Al about doing a musical of my life story. And of course I understand that they're going to be opening up here soon. And that might be a project. And that's something that I would love to do.
Can I play Yvonne? I want to play Yvonne.
All right. Ruth Ann. This came all the way from San Jose.
No, actually it was Baños, California.
Okay. That's what I call about supporting the
We go all the
music.
way down south to see this band, okay? I'm going to tell you, anytime he's in California, we are there.
Yes.
We are there. We love him, and Karina's with me. She's always with me. Remember Karina? And I brought my little sister. She's over there taking pictures somewhere. Thank you, San Francisco.
That's Ruth Ann. She's selling tickets.
Yeah, come see me for tickets for Yoshi.
Along with
10
Mona.
o'clock, 10 o'clock show. We got it.
So everybody heard that, right? Something about
We got tickets for Yoshi.
something down the road, possibly. Any other questions? Al, did you have a question?
Oh no, I just wanted to ask you about the kind of like your origins of music, what inspired you to start to get into singing and that kind of thing. And I'm a child of the '70s, so I grew up with a lot of Earth, Wind & Fire, P-Funk, and you know,
Okay.
those guys, Malo, and all those guys. And my other question was that did you run across other Filipino Americans in the music business during your time that you know contributed to inspire you also?
No, and if they were Filipino, they hit it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry to say that.
They
You
were
know?
Spanish Hawaiian, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was called everything under the sun because, you know, people identified me by what I did in my actions. They never asked me, and I never lied. You know, I was always Afro-Filipino, but, you know, nobody ever asked me. You know, they just took it for granted. Well, he plays Spanish music, so he's got to be Latino. He speaks Spanish, so he has to be Latino. But Filipinos speak Spanish. So, you know,
And how do you get into music? Like, what interests you, what inspired you? And
well, the radio, you know, I mean, look, be honest with yourself. Growing up in East Harlem, if you're black, if you're a minority, you know, if you're Filipino, there's only two ways to escape poverty. Either sports was my first dream. I wanted to be Jackie Robinson, but it didn't happen. He was my idol. He is the one that gave me courage to pursue my career and whatever I did and not to take, excuse the language, shit from anybody. My mother was 4'9", and my third grade teacher smacked me in the face. And I told my mother, and what I witnessed that day was something that I never forgotten. She went up into that school, all 4'9" of her, and grabbed that lady and said, "If you ever touch my son again, I will whip your ass." And I saw my little mother do this, and I said, "Whoa, Ma!" You know? And I started to build confidence in myself, and I said, "Wow, it doesn't matter about size." She told that lady off, and I guess for the next 6 months, I was terrorizing that teacher because every time she looked at me, she saw my mother, and she walked the other way, and I said, "Yeah!" But no, I did get a lot of courage from my mother. She was a fighter, and it's just like, you know, my kids and my grandkids, they don't want to go to the supermarket with me. They say, "Your dad, Grandpa, you always getting in some kind of argument." Is that if I feel you're doing something wrong, I'm going to tell you. And when I tell you, it's because I'm trying to educate you at the same time. Some people are not privy to that kind of advice. You know, people nowadays. It's not like when we were growing up, your neighbor would see you and tell you, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm going to tell your mother." Now they tell you, "Go to hell, mind your business." You know, I mean, it's in New York. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. But unfortunately, that is something that has to be changed. I believe in the family structure. Right? And too often, a lot of our kids are raising kids.
That's true. That's so true.
You see? And it's not the old people that are dying, it's the young people. You really look around you, you might not see it, but every time you pick up the paper, this one got shot, this one having a tragedy with this, tragedy with that, you know? We lost something, we lost that family structure. I'm not saying that it's happening here, but it's happening around the country as you read the papers and things that you see. And it's something that has to be corrected. But you see, when you don't have any respect for the big boss, these are the things that happen. That's why they have laws, and that's why they have commandments. You see, but when you start looking the other way and say, "Well, that's not for me," you know, and then that's why you have problems in your community. And things just don't go wrong because we have too much hatred You know, everybody doesn't like this one, he can't come to me. I'm not going to that concert because I'm not going to sit next to that guy, he ain't from my town. And I see a lot of this, but people won't admit it, you see? And that's why I'm here. Because when I play in Yoshi's, we want to look down at that audience and say, well, wow. Myrna wants to look, Carlos, and say, look what came out to see Joe Bataan. We got everything in the house. And we brought people together, and then maybe it'll start something. Because you see, it hasn't been easy to get in Yoshi's. For a long time, they were a closed entity. They couldn't let people like me play there. There's only jazz groups, and it was only the elite. You see, but now I have an opportunity to open it up for everybody. And I'm just a tool to bring other artists. The organizations that Carlos and Myrna runs can make it possible for other people to come in. Probably there'll be a host of Filipinos that'll follow me in there. But we can't do it without you.
Okay, we're gonna try to wrap it up. So a couple more questions. Somebody that hasn't gotten one. Ron?
Hi, my name is Ron. I was introduced to music by another local Afro-Filipino named John Calloway. And I wanted to ask a question about something that he mentioned. He argued that that there was a record called Rappin' and Clappin' that actually preceded the Sugar Hogan record.
There's the cover to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you already talk about that, or I don't know if you can comment on?
Well, I don't know if you want to hear the story. I don't know if I told you. Did I tell you about the rap song?
No.
No? Here it goes. Joe Bataan got 1,000. I'll make it quick. I was down and out on my luck. Of course, we have our ups and downs in music. I had no job. Yeah, I had no job. And I wasn't playing. And I think I had a wife. I'm trying to remember, and I was wild. I was a gambler. All right? You know Filipinos love to gamble. Come on. I'm no different, man. You know what I mean? I've been to Golden Gate. I've been to the Quarter Horses. I've been to Reno. I can't count how many times I make that trip down to Reno. In Vegas, I walked in the desert when I was broke. So what happened at that particular time, I was working at a community center, and I saw all these hundreds of kids dancing. And they were making all this noise with their feet back and forth, shuffling. Pa, 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 pa. And I said, whoa. And everybody paid $1 to get in. I said, well, what the heck is that? They said, they got no name for it. No name for it? I said, let me talk to those guys up there. What are they doing? They were scratching the record to death, and they were talking. I said, what are they doing? So the guy said, oh, what are you going to say? Oh, we just spinning records, have a good time. I said, well, is this on records? No. I said, would you like to put it on records? Yeah. So I got them together, I rehearsed, I told them what I wanted, and I borrowed the money to go to RCA Studios to record. I sat down there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, nobody showed up. Of course, that was their way of telling me, who the hell are you? We don't know, you ain't doing nothing. So here I'm sitting with the music, everything was done, and I looked at the young kids that were in the audience with me, friends of mine, and I said, I could do this. I know how to talk. And they looked at me, and I was apprehensive because you know how young kids are. They always make you feel like you're too old. Right? And I think I was the oldest rapper to ever start, because I think I recorded that record when I was 39 or 40. So rappers don't start at 40 years old. So I looked at the words, and what I told to write, and I wrote some of them, I changed them around, and I said, play the music. And then I remembered the beat that they were doing. Everything was falling on 2. Pow. And then they would clap their hands. I said, whoa, into the beat. And I got getting in it, and I made sure that I was doing them steps, you know. Because I'm a bad dancer, my wife would tell you. But I was trying, I was into the beat, and then I said, it's a new thing, I'm gonna make you shout. Got rhythm, got beat, go move your feet. Got class, finesse, hold outside. Then I started to start moving in the back, and I said, oh, I got this. To the beat, everybody. Everybody. To the beat. Clap your hands. And then boom, the record was finished, and everybody was jumping back, and I said, whoa, we got something. And I said, I couldn't wait to rush out that door with that product. I ran out, I went to the record stores, and I went to the record companies, and they all threw me out. They said, Joe, what the heck is that junk you talking about? I said, it's something new. He said, you don't sing anymore? I said, no. And I said, I'm telling you, this is something new. He said, get out of here with that shit. And he threw me out, and I went out. So lo and behold, I bumped into this girl who happened to know South Soul Records, which I started. If anybody told you different, it's wrong. That is my name. I